The Los Angeles Rams, your 4 seeds, sitting at 10-7, taking on the number 2 seed Philadelphia Eagles, who ended the season with a 14-3 record. Game takes place at Lincoln Financial Field. The Link at 12 noon Pacific time this Sunday. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Starks, and Kaylee Hartung. Those two will be on the sideline. Collinsworth, Tirico in the booth. NBC and Peacock for this game. Also televised on Telemundo. You radio listeners, we do appreciate you. Westwood 1, we'll see Ian Eagle and Charles Davis as ESPN 710. We'll check out JB, MJD, and D. Farr. We're looking at a high of 39 in Philadelphia on Sunday with a 35% chance of precipitation. This was the last time I checked. And those numbers might be changing. It's starting to feel like this might very well be a snow game for the LA Rams, but should be upper 30s throughout the game with some mild winds. There will be some, but it doesn't look to be that much of an impact. For you bettors, plus 6.5 given for the Rams, plus 235 on the money line, 44.5 on your over-under. Some of the things that we're looking for here, from the Rams' perspective here, we're going into another postseason game, which would be awesome. With a win, Rams would be 500 all-time in the postseason, which is rather exciting. Would be 28-28 all-time. The last time the Rams played in the divisional round, oh, you know the game. You know the game. He's got Cup again. That's right, man. Tampa Bay getting smoked. The Tampa Brady Gronkaneers losing to the LA Rams for that Super Bowl run. Of course, ending in some joyful tears on the SoFi field later on, just a few weeks after that. So obviously awesome stuff. Take a look, bit of the history of this one. Well, we'll take a peek at this last game where the Eagles, not talking about the history yet. We're talking about their last game. All right. So last week, obviously, both teams coming off of big wild card round wins. Those were both at home, with the Commanders being the only road team to win. So if Tampa Bay would have beat Washington, the Rams would actually be going to Detroit. But with Washington being the lower seed, they are, of course, off to Detroit. We take on Philadelphia. Eagles had a 22-10 win over the Packers. That game was, of course, played at home. Jalen Hurts, 13-21, 131 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Barkley went for 25 carries, 119 yards. His longest was 17, but could have been a big one at the end of the game there. He went down, so probably could have scored. Whatever. And Jalen Hurts, 6 carries for 36 yards, so adding some numbers there. Gainwell added 14 to bring the total for the Eagles' run attack to 169. That is below their average, which we'll get into here in just a moment. Only had 2 passing plays above 20 yards. They're obviously just not your high-flying passing action kind of football team out there with Jalen Hurts and stuff, but definitely, obviously getting it done on the ground, so the need for the air attack is just not necessarily there. Nolan Smith, the team's 2 sacks and 4 team tackles for losses total, so nothing too crazy there. 3 interceptions on Jordan Love held Love to a 37.1 QBR, 41.5 rating. Josh Jacobs had 18 carries for 81 yards, solid average there, and 1 touchdown. And the Packers had 107 rushing yards total. No Packers player had more than 50 receiving yards. So something to keep our eyes on there, as of course the Eagles' number 1 passing defense in the league. We'll talk about that matchup here soon. Rams, though, last week, 27-9 win over the Minnesota Vikings at home, we'll call it. Stafford had 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked twice. First sacks for Matthew Stafford in a few games. He's been pretty healthy. And standing uprights. Vertical Matthew Stafford is a better Matthew Stafford. Kyron Williams, K-Dub, 16 carries, 76 yards. That's a 4.8 average. And Tyler Higbee led the team in yards with 58 despite bleeding internally, I guess. Crazy out of Higbee, man. Defense, though, was truly the story for the Rams. 8 different guys tally in the sack column with 9 total. Jared Verse, not one of them. Poor Jared, man. Had a whole sack party. He had his own party in the end zone, though. I'll take it. Rams had 10 total tackles for losses and 12 quarterback hits. And Cardi rocking another perfect day. Oh, Cardi Rock. I didn't even catch it. That's awesome. Cardi Rock. Another perfect day. So he's been on quite the run, which is absolutely awesome. Your special teams player of the month for December and that little asterisk on adding January into that. So pretty cool stuff there. Josh Carty, been on fire. And I love to see that, especially considering myself and other fans were like, you know what, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to find somebody else. And then he's just been like, no, I'll make every kick. And then he did. So I'll take it, man. History of this matchup. This is the 46th all-time meeting between these two. The Eagles lead the all-time series 24-20-1. Eagles have won the last 2 games and 8 of the last 9 against the Rams. The Rams win coming in the COVID year. I remember Tyler Higbee had 3 touchdowns in that one. Him dancing in front of a crowdless stadium. I don't know why it's in my brain so vividly. It kind of ruins my day, though, every time I think about that. So what can you do? That was the only Rams win, though, in the last 9 between these two. First ever game between these two teams came on September 21st of 1937. That was a 21-3 win for the Rams. The Rams' first ever franchise win. That's right, baby. Also, first win, only win of that season, and it was in week 2. So, cool stuff, man. Only 2 weeks of existing, beating the Eagles. We can do it now, right? Rams did win the first 4 against the Philadelphia Eagles, by the way. Most recent, of course, week 12. We talked about that. Or we have not talked about that yet. So, on Sunday Night Football, Barkley had quite the day, if you do remember. 26 carries, 255 yards. Did not break Eric Dickerson's record, however. So I guess he sucks. I don't make the rules. A.J. Brown, 6 receptions, 109 yards, and Hurts went 15 of 22 for 179, 1 touchdown. This is the 4th time these teams are meeting in the postseason, first since the 2001 NFC Championship game. That was a 29-24 win for the Rams, and of course went on to, well, make me real sad a couple weeks later. Breaking my heart out here, dude. And I think ultimately starting off the Patriots dynasty, obviously who knows what would have happened if the Eagles would have pulled off that win and gone to that game. Patriots had a great game plan against, Mike Martz and the Rams offense. And then you get a couple years later, same exact calendar day, February 3rd, Rams and Patriots playing in a Super Bowl again and essentially killing the curse, breaking the curse of whatever the heck happened there where, the Patriots go on this crazy run, Super Bowl to Super Bowl win against the Rams on February 3rd. And in that same gap, the Rams were just a whole bag of bummers the whole time. So rather exciting stuff there, man. Getting that action rolling. But the 2001 NFC Championship game, I was a young guy, all right? I was still 9 years old for this. I was 9. I was almost 10. So I wasn't like fully, in my brain at this time, in my age at this time, I was just kind of like, we're just the best. So whatever, we'll probably just be good until I die. Not the case. Rams 2-1 versus the Eagles in the postseason, by the way, and 1-0 on the road in the postseason. Some of the other stuff we're looking for here. So I keep hearing this word in the press conferences and stuff that I'm watching on both sides, and that is the word approach. And I know that is like one of the NFL buzzwords kind of thing. That's something we hear a lot, but approach feels like it's more present this week. What approach do you have going into this game? And I think we all agree that the first game between these two teams is irrelevant. You'll see some, Facebook pages and Twitter pages, stuff like that, try to troll and be like, they beat you already. They're going to beat you up again. And it's like, okay, well, that's not real, But, hey, none of those fans have their teams in the playoffs, so they don't understand how it works. You got to give some leniency there, you know what I mean? But either way, approach. How do you approach this game? What will the Rams' approach be in this game, considering the last time these teams played? Does your approach change if you're the Rams? Does your approach change if you're the Eagles? Probably. To what extent? That we don't know yet. Sean Desai, by the way, was tasked with scouting Brian Flores for the Vikings. Not the scheme of the Vikings, the guy, Brian Flores. And I would say it worked out pretty well. You look at a box score of Vikings-Rams, and it looks like the Vikings defense had a really good day, and they did fine. Rams did great, though. Like, all over the place. Had a couple of drives there in the middle where it's like, hey, let's maybe get it rolling a little bit again. What happened here? What adjustments have we not made here? And then just get it rolling again. But Sean Desai He was tasked with scouting the guy. Sean Desai was the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles last year, so it stands to reason that he would have a little bit of inside knowledge, or at least some knowledge on some tendencies, or some knowledge on some conversations that have happened in the past of, hey, when we see this, let's do this, or when this happens, let's try this kind of thing. So Desai being in our building, I think, is a massive help for the Rams going into this weekend. I don't think something that's getting a lot of airplay at all is Sean Desai for the Rams in this week, considering he was there last year. I feel like the conversation last week was very Desai heavy, and less so this week. And I think it should be more so this week myself, but what the heck do I know? Also, what will the Eagles' approach be? Similar to last time, a heavy ground attack, or is this where they try to shake it up? We have not seen the Eagles really light it up throughout the air in any game this year. They have not. That's just not who they are. But in the playoffs, you got a situation where you saw the Philadelphia Eagles last week against Green Bay line up for what looked like a tush push, and it was a pass. Something we have not seen yet before. And so, like, that kind of stuff there, it's playoff time. There's added wrinkles in there. So what will the added wrinkle be for the Eagles offense, knowing that they're coming into a game against the Rams defense, who played great last week, who probably is feeling pretty good about themselves entering this game? How do you take that approach, and where do you try to attack? I think it's going to be very, very important into this one. And where you are attacking. That's kind of what I'm looking for on offense and defense. Where are the Rams attacking? Are they attacking right side, left side, middle, deep, short, screens? Like, where are they trying to get them? And then on the defensive side, what are they taking away? What are they saying? Like, you're not going to beat us this way. That's what you're not going to do. That's what I'm looking to see. But also from the Eagles side as well. I'm really curious to see what's kicking around in the old brain tank of Sirianni. All right, because it's truly like awkward to try to figure out, what he might do in this game, or what that Eagles team is going to look like heading into this one. Let's take a look at the matchup, though. Let's go Rams offense going against that Eagles defense. Your Rams offense, these are regular season numbers, by the way. We will not adjust these in the playoffs. 15th ranked offense for the Rams, 331 a game, going against the number 1 defense in Philadelphia, passing the ball. The top 10 unit for the Rams and number 1 unit for the Philadelphia Eagles defense, running the rock. Almost 104 for the Rams. That's 24th in the league, and the 10th ranked run defense for the Philadelphia Eagles, giving up a little over 104. Points being put up a game, 21.6 for the Rams. That's 20th, and the Eagles giving up 17.8. That is second, just 0.1 behind the Chargers, who ended up with, in first place, 17.7. Third down percentage, Rams are converting 36.8%. That is tied for 23rd, and the Eagles giving up 35.3. That is third in the NFL. So, Eagles, of course, boasting that number 1 defense. They played great all year. Packers didn't do a great job moving the ball against Philadelphia, but again, really bad day by Jordan Love, and I think a pretty bad day by LaFleur as well. The attack that the Packers offense had going into last week just didn't feel like they, just feel like they missed on a game plan. And that can happen. It happened to the Rams, the Super Bowl 53, you know what I mean? Like, it was had a game plan where it's like, this is not, none of it's working. What do we do? And we can blame players and all that stuff, but it's like, at what point is we just weren't ready, dude. And that comes down to your coach. But that was a long time ago, and I like to think that Sean McVay comes in pretty ready these days. We also think it's worth noting as well that the Eagles' playoff success is very much in the brain of everybody right now, right? I feel like we all kind of agree, hey, Eagles are in the playoffs. They're going to be beating people up and stuff like that. Their playoff run, their Super Bowl run is it. That's every other time they've kind of not done a great job. So that's not necessarily real. It is real to a sense, because they are a very good football team, but you get into the playoffs, man, and things get very, very different. Rams, by the way, coming off a solid performance. We all knew that. No explosive plays, though, for Philadelphia, for the Rams offense last week. So no explosive, real big popping plays. We had that pass to Kupp that I thought was rather exciting, and I thought that he was going to start to get rolling after that. It was just a 1 target, 1 catch for Kupp, but who I do think is at any moment able to kind of just go off and get 8 catches, 109. I think that he's got those in him for sure. But No explosives, so I would like to see some of those in this one. But Eagles with the top pass defense in the NFL. Last time these teams played, Stafford did have 243 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 5 times, though. Since that 5-sack day, Stafford has only been sacked 4 times. It seemed like the offensive line was like, hey, guys, let's not do that to that guy anymore. And I've been cleaning it up, so only 4 sacks since then. I did have 2 last week against the Vikings. Vic Fangio running the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. He ran that Bears defense that year, the 2018 year, where we saw McVay kind of just get smoked by the Bears. It was close to the end of the season. I want to say it was week 14, and then that same kind of game plan out of the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. So Fangio, that was the guy. I think that what we're seeing here is a lot of people are like, oh, Fangio? Oh, no, he owns McVay. He just kills them or whatever. They haven't played in a long time. And so I think that what people are ignoring here is the fact that that Sean McVay has adjusted, and he definitely has like a different offense than he does even just from just a few years ago. I think we see it in season. We see it definitely season 2 season. Like we get a whole off season in there. We see a lot new wrinkles, but we even see it in the course of the season that the Rams offense will change over time and make those adjustments. So I think that argument, and to say that Vic Fangio, he'll just shut down the McVay offense just because he's Vic Fangio and he's Sean McVay, it feels irresponsible. It feels like, I don't know, man. It just feels like it feels lazy. I don't know. It's like, dude, pay attention, man. Like that's like not the same team anymore. You know what I mean? He's adjusted through the years, man. McVay has, in a really big way. And I just think anybody saying that Fangio for sure just shuts down McVay's offense because of who they are as humans, I just don't think you pay enough attention. And Rams also 0-8 on third down in that first matchup against the Eagles. So that will be a big key in this one. Third down, get it to third and short and make those conversions. We've seen when the Rams are able to have a good first down play, you get to 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, whatever. The Rams typically are doing a much, much better job in those situations. Best matchup here, Rams offense against the Eagles defense. I'm going Nakua and Kupp versus Slay and Mitchell. I'm pretty sure this is my same matchup to watch in our first meeting between these two, but yeah, makes sense, right? I also know that a lot of people want to put Cooper DeJean into this conversation. I am not there yet. I don't think that Cooper DeJean is a bad player by any means, but it's the Slay and Mitchell show, and Cooper DeJean is also there. He also gets kind of burned sometimes, man, and I think that I think it's the Eagles fans that are kind of just like, no, he's fine. Okay, he's fine. But Slay and Mitchell, they're clear-cut top guys. They got a tough task this week, though, obviously. 10-17. They did combine for 177 in our first meeting. 117 of that coming from Puka, by the way. I don't want to try to skew any numbers here. But yeah, so these are talented corners, obviously. But I'm not ready to say that Nakua can't dice them up, or that he's just not able to do some damage here. And I'm also never going to be willing to say that Cooper Kupp is just out. I think that for Cooper Kupp, man, I'm seeing a lot of comments, and I'm not talking about just like one conversation. I've had this conversation like 7 times this week, but just people saying like, hey, he's done. Let's get rid of this guy. And it's like, we're going into the divisional round. Can we have this conversation in the offseason? But also Cooper Kupp and what he's done for this team and who he is as a human being, not just a football player, but as a human being. I just, as long as he's here, I've got his back. I mean, that's it. That's as simple. And you don't have to. I'm not telling you how to be a fan. I'm just saying that for myself and where I'm standing here as a Rams fan, he could be here for the next 5 years, getting 1 catch a game, 1 target a game. I still got his back, man. I don't care. The human being that's under that helmet, wearing that number 10 jersey, man, I think is absolute pinnacle. And yeah, I just think any Rams fan that's saying like, man, he's done, he's fraud. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but like, we don't have to just rip him up before a divisional playoff game because you think he's done now. I don't know, man, whatever. But it doesn't really matter. Cooper Kupp's here today, and I think that he's a very talented guy. I do think that, like, I just don't see it, I guess, that he's done, that he's cooked, I truly think that teams are taking him away. I think that teams are paying a lot of attention to Cooper Kupp. They know that the damage that he can do to them. And I know the argument, too, that can be always had. It was like, well, true superstars still find a way to get open, and they still try to find a way to get it done. But why force it when you also got Puka Nacua on the other side? absolutely cooking ankles, dude. Spilling ankle guts all over State Farm Stadium last week. Like, it's like, it's like Cooper Kupp, he's getting less targets for sure. He had 1 last week. He had a game where he had 0. You know what I mean? So that's a very real thing. But watch him play, and I think you can see the value that he adds to this offense. So I don't think that there's anything too crazy there. 3 to see on the offensive side for the Rams. I'm going to start with Tyler Higbee. He's just internally bleeding, leaving the game, going to the hospital, but he's like, he's good. McVay, pretty coy on what happened, but the fact that he's in, he was limited in practice on Wednesday, absolutely sick, man. Before getting hurt as well, Big Rig Higgs was absolutely on fire and had like a 90-plus PFF ranking for the time that he was in the game. And I think very clear-cut, very obvious to anybody who would watch this team all this year and in any previous years of like, oh, no. This Rams offense is back because of Higbee. Like, it's like we've got Higbee back. He is a part of this offense. Obviously, we can still get stuff done with Puka and Kyren and other guys, but having Tyler Higbee in there, I think he's undervalued for sure, man, and I think that Rams fans are the ones that truly know what he brings to the tables on Sunday. Puka Nacua up next. Clearly the guy when we need to get the passing game rolling, man. Puka is still very much on fire and a true threat in any of these upcoming games for the Rams. His connection with Stafford, absolutely blatant, and it's super fun to watch, man. Those guys are just next level right now. This is something we talked about with Cooper in that 21 playoff run. It's Puka this time, and that's fine. It doesn't. I don't care. No one's feelings need to be hurt. Win football games, and no one cares what the stats are. I can confirm that because every game could end 2-0. I don't care. It could be we could have 10 total offensive yards, but we win every game 2-0. I'm fine with that, man. Absolutely fine with that. But it's going to be a big day for Puka, considering the cold weather possibility that we're looking at in this one. But obviously, Puka having a big cold weather day would do wonders in being able to watch our LA Rams play in an NFC Championship game in just about a week and a half from time of recording, which would be pretty sick stuff. Kyren Williams, speaking of a cold weather game, got to hit the ground running. Pun very much included there. But Kyren, obviously, with the weather the way it's going to be, playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who are going to be very heavy on time of possession, Kyren is going to be an important piece of this game for sure. A very big important piece. He didn't get as much use as I wanted to see last week. I said anything under 18 carries needs to be considered a crime. He had 16, but it worked out because of the way that he was playing and also just the way that the Vikings defense was, it kind of felt like they were like, go ahead, pass it. And we were like, all right, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what it felt like. But Kyren in this one, I think it is going to be it's going to be a different game, obviously, entirely. It's a different opponent in a different city and all that stuff. But I think that for this one, the whole vibe on offense is going to be very different. Time of possession is going to be big, and I think that ultimately your possessions in this game are going to be limited. I don't think you're going to have as many possessions as you did last week like you did against the Vikings. So Kyren getting it done and converting those third downs, those third and shorts especially, absolutely going to be massive. And like I said, time of possession, that's going to be huge. So obviously that part. But also, like I'll say this on the Rams offensive side here is like starting strong is obviously a huge plus. To force the Eagles to kind of keep up with us is going to be massive if the Rams are able to do that. But also, not having a 3-drive stretch where you can't pick up a first down in the middle of the game, avoiding that also is huge. And that's also where Kyren Williams comes in big time for the Rams offense. And being able to pull off a Rams win here, because the Philadelphia Eagles are really good at holding time of possession, and we got to be able to give our defense a rest. Those guys are best when they are just flying around having a good time out there. Advantage here, I'm going to give it to Philly, but that's not me saying that the Rams can't do well. I'm just saying that we are going against the literal number 1 ranked defense in the NFL. We are the 15th ranked offense in the NFL. These are the playoffs, though. All bets are off. Anybody can do anything. Let's not pretend like the Eagles defense hasn't been awesome, but dude, all bets are off, man. This is the playoffs. I mean, your regular season stuff doesn't matter anymore. It's over. I mean, anybody can win the game this weekend because we're both in the game this weekend. We're playing a football game on Sunday, which means we can win a football game on Sunday. That's as easy as it is, man. So no dicing it up, man. Let's flip over to the other side here. Let's get into the Eagles offense going against that Rams defense. The Eagles on the offensive side are a top 8 unit, as the Rams defense 26th in the league. Again, I said this last week, but those numbers very much improved over the last month or so. Passing the ball, 29th ranked passing offense for the Eagles, and Rams 20th against the pass. Running the ball, second in the NFL for the Eagles, 22nd for the Rams defense here. And second, dude, there's a team that runs the ball better than you, Philly. Losers. Points being put up, 27.2 for the Eagles, that's 7th in the league, and 22.7 for the Rams defense, 17th. On third down conversion, top 10 unit for the Eagles, 41.7%, and the Rams giving up 40.7, that is 20th in the league. Last week, the Rams coming off of a 9-sack day. Eagles play a completely different style than the Vikings, so I don't know if I would put any money on 9 sacks being put up again. But of the 9 sacks, 8 different players hopping into the stat tallies with at least 0.5, which is so cool, man. It was a party for everybody. 9 sacks and 8 different dudes on the stat sheet for it. Absolutely love to see that, man. That is a team effort right there. Has held opponents to single digits in 5 of the last 6 games, by the way, or was that 4 of the last 5? But either way, doing a great job on the defensive side, and scores not being real high against the Rams, which is really good news. 37 given up to the Eagles the first time we played these guys, though. Sean Desai, talked about it already. Senior defensive assistant, was the Eagles defensive coordinator last year, so that is going to be something we keep our eyes on. As he knows this team. So I don't know how much we're going to hear throughout the week on what Sean Desai's impact truly is, but just know that I think it's real. I mean, I don't even know what that does for you or how you're supposed to feel about that, but I feel like if you see some things like a trend that's going well, it may be something that Sean Desai spotted. That's possible, man. It's absolutely possible. By the way, 9 sacks. I talked about this. The Rams had 9 sacks. The Eagles let up 9 pressures last week, so definitely a bit of a skew there, but also just not that many passes, dude. Just not that many passes. Rams blitzed less than 20% of their defensive snaps against the Minnesota Vikings, but pressured Darnold more than 50% of the time. So it wasn't even like just creative blitzes and all this stuff. It was straight up bullying the front of the Minnesota Vikings. Philadelphia Eagles have a very good offensive line, much better than the Minnesota Vikings, but the way that Rams defensive line was playing last week, man, do not be surprised if they are able to generate plenty of pressure with just 4 or 5 dudes, for sure. Hurts also, by the way, we talked about Stafford having only been sacked 4 times since these teams last played, 11 for Jalen Hurts since these teams last played. Also wanted to just quickly send a shout out to Saquon Barkley on the Eagles running back, of course. Hey, you know what, Saquon? Absolutely stoked that you've gotten to the 2K club. That's awesome, man. Well done. Straight up, well done. An incredible year, 255 against the Rams. You absolutely deserve it. Could not get the record, though. Whole 100 yards short of the record in the same amount of games as Eric Dickerson. So if Saquon would have played another game, of course, we would have tallied that with a little asterisk. But hey, congrats to Saquon on joining the 2K club. But ED, still your Russian champ. That's right. Let's see here. Best matchup on the Rams defense going against the Eagles offense. I'm going to go with the fearsome 2020 foursome against this Eagles offensive line. This is the clear-cut most important matchup of this game. I absolutely believe that. You lose this matchup, you lose the game. And I think that's for both sides. Eagles get smoked by this Rams defensive line, they probably lose. If the Rams defensive line can't generate any pressure, can't fill any run gaps, we probably lose the game. Sure, the Rams have a chance to keep themselves on offense, obviously. So like we can kind of combat that with just the fact of like let's just stay on offense. Let's give our defense those rests and stuff like that. But again, we just talked about it. Number 1 ranked defense in the NFL this year. So that like easy out of like, oh, we'll just do this. It's like, well, they're also really good at that. So good luck with that. But again, we're playoff time, dude. And Eagles didn't play great last week. Rams played awesome last week. So, worlds colliding, man. This could be a pretty fun one. 3 to C. Defensive side, we're going to start with Jared Verse. Did not get invited to the sack party last week, but did get to party in the end zone, Space Jam style. So, does that bad or not? I think it's indifferent, actually. I think Jared obviously wants to be putting some heart down on some quarterbacks, as evidenced by his is coming in on Sam Darnold from the top rope, dude. Absolutely love it, man. So it's crazy, man. Jared versus last week, his athleticism was he just put on a display of athleticism, man. That was absolutely awesome. The things he was doing, I think the jump into the end zone caught him off guard. I think he was like, whoop, I'm way up in the air, but then the flying in on, man, it was awesome, but it was just cool. And then just bullying people too. It wasn't just flying around the field. It was also just pushing dudes around, which you obviously love to see. Versus impact, very, very felt last week for sure, and his athleticism on full display. So hopefully we get to see that again. Next up, Quentin Lake, Captain Q. Lake had I would say his best game of the season last week against the Vikings. I think that's reasonable to say. True leadership and is truly shining right now for Quentin Lake, man. Absolutely love to see it. He's all over the place and he's vocal. Big fan of that. Watch out for another big day coming from Captain Q. And last help on 3 to see, I'm going to go to Christian Roseboom. Spates can be added into this too, but I'm going Roseboom specifically because he is the veteran of this grouping here. Run defense going to be huge in this game, obviously. I don't think that there's anybody be like, what? It's like, yeah, duh, kind of is the more proper response there. But Christian Roseboom, if that front can do its job, then Christian Roseboom and Omar Spates will be tasked with filling in those gaps to get to Saquon and tackling Saquon. So, yeah, we're going to need a big day from these two dudes. Roseboom, though, again, I'm putting him here because he's the veteran of that group. But, yeah, we just got to clean up those gaps and be able to take down Saquon. Luckily, Christian Roseboom has been absolutely killing it in the tackling world. I think his angles have improved when he's chasing guys down all year. The Rams, specifically Roseboom and Spates, haven't done great against the run all season, but the Rams just really aren't built for that. We're not a very big team up front, especially. We're kind of designed to let you kind of get 4, then 5, and then shut you down on 3rd and 1, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like we're kind of built for that. So I think Christian Roseboom and Omar Spates going to be big in this one. And also, specifically on that situation, getting to 3rd and 1 and then shutting it down, I mean, that's exactly what you cannot do against the Philadelphia Eagles. You need to get them to like a 3rd and 5. Otherwise, they have 2 downs to do it, and they'll probably try. So, those 1st and 2nd downs are big because it's not just stop them on 1st and 2nd down to make it 3rd down, but it's also like, but don't even let it be 3rd and 2 because if it is, they'll probably bomb it, and if they don't get it, they're still probably going to go for it. And they're a really good offensive line. They can push it. So a lot of stuff there. Advantage here. Eagles offense, Rams defense. It comes down to the run game, man. What approach do the Rams take to slow down this run game? I think that's absolutely huge. I'll give it to Philly before this game's played because they go off on the ground. Their 2nd ranked run defense, and Saquon did put up the 255 on this same exact defense earlier in the year. But the Rams defense has turned it around in a big way in just the last month or so. So what I'm looking for here is just flying around, filling gaps, just collapsing on the football. I'm looking for all that stuff in this game. And I think it's going to be very, very different compared to the last game that we played with this team. It's much like the Minnesota Vikings game, very, very different. But could be an ugly game in this one, and I'm absolutely okay with that. I think that the Rams do well in ugly games. But if we get another single-digit output by the offense that we're playing, I think that would be absolutely incredible. Could be an ugly game, though. Advantage, I'm going to give to Philly. Again, that doesn't mean that I don't think that the Rams can do well here. We're going against the number 2 seed, all right? That's it. They're a 14-win team. We could be the first team to ever beat 2 14-win teams in 1 year. They've already gotten to 14 wins, you know what I mean? And also, hilarious, the Vikings only lost to 2 teams this year. I love that, dude. That's so funny. Anyway, moving on. Connections. Former Rams who are on the Eagles. Quarterbacks coach, Doug Nussmeier. He was the Rams quarterbacks coach in 06 to 07, which were real sick years out of the quarterbacks, Doug. Thanks a lot. Also, linebacker O'Shawn Mathis. He's on the practice squad. Former Eagles on the Rams, Sean Desai. 2023 defensive coordinator, now senior defensive assistant for your LA Rams. Just a couple of NFL connections here. Didn't see anything that I thought was very riveting. So Matthew Stafford played in Detroit with Darius Slay and Kellen Moore. Also, Akello Witherspoon and K-Dot played in Pittsburgh with quarterback Kenny Pickett, who we probably won't see in this game, but I guess it is possible. College connections for you. Christian Roseboom played at South Dakota with tight end Dallas Goedert. Demarcus Robinson played at Florida with tackle Fred Johnson. Bobby Brown played at A&M with Braden Mann and Anias Smith. Anias Smith, the wide receiver at A&M. I think he plays a running back. But Braden Mann at A&M, that was a fun one, man. There was a push for Braden Mann to be Heisman winner, which was pretty sick because also at the time that Braden Mann was at A&M, I'm a Texas A&M fan. Rams had Johnny Hecker, and I was like, damn, like my teams are terrible, but we have the sickest punters, dude. Pretty fun stuff. Tutu Atwell, the 2-2 train, played at Louisville with offensive lineman Mekhi Becton. Josh Wallace played at UMass with cornerback Isaiah Rodgers. Josh Cardion Wayne played at Stanford with quarterback Tanner McKee and defensive tackle Thomas Booker IV. V8 and Kingpin. Kingpin, I don't understand yet, by the way. Someone explain it to me. I don't understand where that came from. I don't get it. Braden Fisk being Kingpin. I don't know what happened. Okay, I just heard it one day from JB Long, okay? But V8 and Kingpin. They played at Florida State with wide receiver Johnny Wilson. Desjuan Johnson popping up on the stat sheet last week with a sack. He played at Toledo with cornerback Quinion Mitchell and linebacker Dallas Gant. Quentin Lake, Captain Q, played at UCLA with wide receiver Kyle Phillips. Kyron Williams, K-Dub, played at Notre Dame with quarterback Ian Book. And Steve Avila played at TCU with O'Shawn Mathis. And Omar Spates played at LSU with safety Andre Sam. Some milestones in this one. Nothing too wild, I suppose, for you. We did want to talk about some stuff that happened last week, though. We'll start with Sean McVay. With a win on Sunday would be the third time that Sean McVay sees himself coaching in an NFC championship game in 8 seasons. And the reason that I'm even bringing this one up here is because I see just what I would consider too many people saying that, like, Sean's done. Sean doesn't have it anymore. We got to move on from this guy. Like, who do we go? Like, it's like, first of all, y'all already forgot what we came from? We've been looking for a Sean for 20 years, dude, and now you just want him out? Like, what are we doing over here, man? So I guess my question is, if he can get to 3 NFC championship games in 8 years, in fairness, if he doesn't, that's still 25% of the time that he's been our coach. We've been in the NFC Championship game. But either way, what does he need to do to earn just a little bit of leniency? I think I put this same exact topic onto Cooper Kupp of like, what do they need to do to be able to have a stretch where they don't play that well and we don't just throw them away? Like, Cooper Kupp physically is not hindered in any way. We can see that with our eyeballs. We can see that he's still playing very well. Maybe not to the same level, of course. This football game is a very aggressive thing. It's very violent. All right, you deteriorate over time. Okay, but Sean McVay, man, I mean, what does he need to do to be able to have like 3 or 4 games where maybe we're not playing that well and it seems like he's a little off before people are just like, get him out of here? It's like, but what does he need to do? But they're like, no, just 5 games. It's just the month of November. We're going to be fine in December kind of thing. What does he need to do to be able to earn that? Because I think he has. That's why at 1-4, I'm like, no. Hold on. Well, let's just see kind of thing is how I'm feeling at 1-4. While some people are like, it's over. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get him out of here. Get Kupp out of here. Get Stafford out. And it's like, whoa. Y'all forgot what we dealt with? Remember the 2009 Rams? Was it just me? Was I the only one here in 2009? If you were here, let me know, man, because I feel like Sean McVay's allowed to have a couple bad games. Cooper Kupp's allowed to have a couple bad games. Matthew Stafford's allowed to have a game where he throws a couple of picks in my world. Because it's still like, hey, well, it's still Matthew Stafford. Next week, he might kill it. Just like all these guys. Anyway, moving on. Matthew Stafford, he reached 6 straight postseason games with 200 plus passing yards and multiple touchdowns. That is the 4th longest streak in NFL postseason history. No, I wanted to remove that. Never mind. Ignore that. Don't pay attention to that. December through February, his record is currently at 19-3 as the Rams quarterback. Absolutely incredible. Only 3 losses as the Rams quarterback between the months of December and February. Last year, getting that one in January, and then also Baltimore in December last year. And what would have been that other one, man? I gotta think. I'm not sure what that other game would have been. I'm sure it's probably like ooh, no, that was Baker Mayfield. I was gonna say, Green Bay 2022, but that was Baker Mayfield. I don't know. If you know, let me know. This is also just the second divisional game of his career, and second as a Ram. That first one, of course, coming against Tom Brady. So he's used to going against good quarterbacks and performing well. Tight end Tyler Higbee. He reached the most receiving yards by a tight end in Rams postseason history. Absolutely awesome there. The bar was not high. But Big Rig still get it done. Jared Verse, the longest fumble recovery for a touchdown by a rookie in NFL postseason history. Absolutely love to see that. First rookie defender to score a touchdown in a playoff game since J.J. Watt in 2011. That's also only been done 5 times. Rather exciting stuff for V8. And according to Next Gen Stats, the fastest 260-pound player of all time at 19.88 miles per hour, which is such a sick stat. And also I found out watching the press conference for Sean McVay, because the question to Sean was like, how do you feel about him hitting 19.88 miles per hour? And Sean's like, well, why couldn't he hit 20? Which I absolutely love. But also, on the flip side of that, they were like, yeah, his highest, though, this year was against the Eagles. He hit like 21 something. So, yeah, he's fast. He's so fast. He's so fast, he makes other fast guys look not fast. Akello Witherspoon. He is the second Rams corner in... I love this stat. He is the second Rams cornerback to record a sack in franchise postseason history. The first was Kobe Durant earlier in the game. Absolutely love that. Also, first time 2 cornerbacks recorded sacks in a single postseason game. So, that is it, man. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Los Angeles Rams. This game taking place Sunday, noon Eastern time, or noon Pacific time, going against the 2-seed Philadelphia Eagles for your 4-seeded LA Rams. We were the 4-seed in the last time we won the Super Bowl. Just saying, and for you guys as well. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth on NBC and Peacock will be on the call. You know what? Don't even do the Iron Eagle and Charles Davis, man. Just go ahead and if you're a radio listener, head to JB, MJD, and DFAR on ESPN 710, man. That's definitely where you're going to want to hang out for sure. All right. Hopefully we get another game preview next week as NFC Championship game action, man. Would absolutely love for you to join me for that. No matter what, though, we will be here as whether it's another game preview or a thank you Rams fans and thank you Rams for a fun season. Whatever it happens to be, just know I'll be here for you, as winning is a lot more fun, but losing's not going to make me pick a new team. We're in the playoffs right now, so I feel like everybody's a little bit hyped up. But yeah, just come hang out with me next week. It'll be a good time, man. Hopefully we'll get a game preview. As my plan is, I'll even let you know my picks right here. As I'm picking Kansas City, I'm picking Washington, I'm picking the Rams, and I'm picking the Bills. So I think that the Washington Commanders go to L.A. for the NFC Championship game. Hopefully that game can be in L.A. And then that would lead Buffalo going to Kansas City, which was where I do think the Bills win. Rams, Bills, Super Bowl for your rematch for a game I was at 44-42 this year. And that would be awesome, man. So, all right, we do have...